All right, hey folks, let's see if I'm live, and we'll get things up and running here. We're gonna work on Bastions today. Where'd my face go? Hey, what's up, buddy? Hey, there we go. Yeah, we're working on Bastions today. No, that's not what I needed to do. What I need to do is go to the camera. I need to bring that in a snig. And a push. A snig and a push. There we go. Vanity intact. Yeah, Bastions. I'm a big 5e enthusiast. My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them and I publish them online. Kearney. I create role-playing games. Yeah, it's going through nice and clear. Let me adjust the volume here real quick. I'm going to grab this as a social media link and start boosting. If you're catching this in the future and you know the score, then be welcome to skip ahead a minute. We'll get to work. But those that are caught here in time space with me in the here now, or are new to the stream and are checking it out to see what's going on, I'll give you my quick breakdown here. So my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them and I publish them online. And I've been running games in Dungeons and Dragons since 1987. I've been an illustrator in the RPG industry since 1999, and I've been creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition since 2017. And so recently 2024 Player's Handbook and then Dungeon Master's Guide came out. Those are killer books. I really like the direction that the new 5e rules are going. One of the things that they introduced into the Dungeon Master's Guide that's available, if the DM allows, for players to engage with is what they're calling the Bastion system. It's a system-light means of the characters of having a property to call their own, and whatever kind of narrative is agreed on between the player and the DM, whether it's a hideout, a castle, a shop in a busy city, or a pirate ship, or a spelljammer. Whatever it is, between you and the DM, you have a location that you call home where you can keep your stuff, sharpen your knives, take long rests, and they have a downtime system of orders that you can issue the Bastion, depending on what you invest into the Bastion to build out different type of, they call them facilities, which are like rooms that are equipped to basically create like magic items or equipment, or to research a subject, or to give yourself buffs, or like to change feats, stuff like that. Some fun stuff. And but there's very little mechanics to it. And I grew up in the old school days of BECME and first edition, where there was extensive mechanics about creating and maintaining a dominion, or what we would now call Bastion, of overseeing territory, or like running a thieves guild, or like carving out, like having a lookout post at the edge of the frontier that you would frequently delve into hex crawl style to maintain security of like a far-flung border in your kingdom, for instance. So so the older schools of D&D built campaign progression basically after 9th level around the idea that your characters are taking on responsibilities of leadership over hirelings, territory, industry, engaging with the world at a larger scale. The reason you started off was in dungeon delving was for the fame, fortune, and fun of dungeon delving, of fighting monsters and extracting treasure. But in the narrative inside of the game, as your characters gain levels, they would have to give away gold in exchange for experience points. So they're naturally enriching the environments, the communities that they go to for their downtime. It's like a week per level. So like if I'm 5th level, I want to get to 6th level, that's 6 weeks downtime. Then I'm going to spend, 20,000 gold to get to the next level. So I'm going to disperse that gold with no return to me other than, basically it's trauma processing. Every piece of gold that you sell allows you to recuperate sanity from fighting monsters under the earth, and it's converted into experience points, which makes your character more powerful and more equipped to fight or handle similar threats in the future. That's kind of how the system worked. But a side effect of that inside of the game world was your characters, by the time they get to 9th level, will have distributed like 100,000 gold each into whatever community that they decide that they want to spend time at. And these communities grow as a result of that injection of just raw cash into their economy. They naturally just grow with it because they're having an adventurer's boom. So you'll see new shops open up that can cater to these adventurers that are now using this as a place to trauma dump. So it was such a self-referential and complete loop of a system, because once your characters got high enough of a level and they have a broad enough dominion, it would take, it's going to take 18 weeks for me to get the 18th level. My character is down for half, for a quarter, a third of the year. So having other characters at lower level would allow them to be able to gain levels quicker, and you could just keep playing. But every time you launch a new character, they would be in, if you wanted, they could be inside the realm of your highest level character's domain, and you're basically performing low level missions for higher level characters with low level characters that don't need downtime very much to gain levels because they're not powerful yet. So this is why, for example, why Gandalf doesn't go and take care of the ring himself. Sure, he doesn't want to get cursed by it. Wouldn't that be horrible? But he's actually in downtime. He's looking to level up. So if he starts running around on these low-level missions, he's not gaining levels, and he's not gaining any real experience of value, because the difficulty of the quest is so low that it doesn't require his attention. It's literally a waste of his time to do it, and it delays him from being able to achieve greater goals. That's why they dump these low-level missions on low-level characters, because they're basically recruiting and farming next-generation heroes. Once you look at it from that perspective, you can actually have a dungeon world mentality where people, if an NPC is invited to go on a quest with heroes, if they're hopeful, they may decide this is a worthwhile task to engage with. Let's go, and because they know there's a slim chance that they're going to become freaking amazing godlike heroes as a result of this hero's journey that they've decided to accept. Most of them just get killed, and they know that. But it's either you're a serf the rest of your life, you get killed by monsters, or you don't get killed by monsters and you become more powerful, and you keep trying and you keep pushing that line to become more and more heroic. And before long, you are now giving back to the community that raised you, and you have ideas about how the world can be better. And you can start where your home was, and you can build out from the kingdom from there, and evolve it into a better state, which is often all the motivation. Like some of us really old school gamers, taking a shoe shop that's not doing very well, and making it the best the best cobbler in the multiverse. Gods show up for your shoes. That's the kind of bullshit stuff that really old school bored, way over all the tropes kind of players are, where they've seen everything, they know all the tropes, they see all the pathways in and out of different type of epic quests, and they don't care. They're mostly just interested in, hey, what's going on around us? Okay, and they just pick something that they know they can just immediately make better, because it's cathartic to enter people's lives and make them better. When you've won the game of life, all you can really do is just farm a team and farm guilds at that point, which is the entire old school D&D system was gamified that process, and it was amazing. And most of that's been stripped out of the game at this point. And so it's great seeing Bastion being reasserted into 5th edition, because 5e is such a great game engine to build subsystems and alternate mechanical mechanics and game rules that you can just clip onto characters or clip onto your campaign, and you can add them or remove them. It doesn't change how the characters, it doesn't have to change. When you clip on things, it's designed to change the characters or change the campaign, but it doesn't change how the campaigns work. The engine still, it's still the 5e game engine. You still know how bounded accuracy works and how it doesn't work, right? You know about resource management and rests and cycles and scaling power through levels. collection of gold, experience, challenge rating. All that stuff stays the same when you add on a new mechanical system. It just allows you to explore those ideas from a different angle. So the Bastion system, the book that we're building currently for the DMs Guild, it's called Bastion Campaigns. So it takes that old school idea of from zero to hero and into leadership to build a legacy that you can start creating lower level characters inside of. That's a Bastion campaign. I would call it a Dominion campaign, but the term that they use in D&D is Bastion. So when I inevitably kick out of here and start doing my own OSR style game, I'll probably call it something like that. But I love 5e, and it's where I go to accumulate my skills as both an artist, game designer, layout artist, and as a team leader, and a playtester, and just a DM and a player. So I'm on Twitter. If you're on the X Twitter platform as well, I'm at Phil Kearney. I always post when I go live. Post a bunch of illustrations, works in progresses, coupons, articles, blah blah blah. Be welcome to check that stuff out. I'm at 500 subscribers. If anyone finds this channel interesting and you're new to it, drop me a like. I'm trying to climb to gain status to be able to show off links to different stuff that I have here on screen. That's my next big goal. So thanks if you're interested in helping out. Here is the playtest document that we're now working on for the Bastion campaigns. It's on Google Drive. For you, it's going to be a read-only document. Look, don't touch. But this is going to be the same document that I've been using here while we've been streaming to start layering in these ideas. So you are most welcome to tag along in a read-only document. Again, that's right here in the playtest document. And here's a ton of other books that I've already published on DMsGuild. All of them have free previews. Basically, they're just prettier versions of this, but it's the same thing. You'll be able to read the entire document. And hey, Steve, how you doing? And just to stitch that up, thanks for the congrats on the 500. Yeah, I'm really proud. But yeah, just to tie this all off with the bow, I publish books. I make them 100% free preview because I build books for people to use and read in their games. People pay me because they want me to make more books, or they actually use them in their campaign and they want to keep using them. If you hit an idea of mine, it's garbage and you don't like it and you throw it away, you shouldn't have to give me any money. I used to read D&D books from 1st and 2nd edition at the mall in the 80s at Walden's Book, but B. Dalton was my favorite place because they had a kids section with chairs. I could just sit down with a Coke from Cinnabon and pick up whatever the new book is off the shelf, and I could read it cover to cover. I would spend all of my Wednesday night and Saturday afternoon when my sister would take me to the mall. When she would go to the mall to hang out with her friends, I would just go and I'd hang out in B. Dalton and read the books. I'd clean up the place to make sure I was worth my time. Management was totally cool with me there. I'd mow lawns on the weekend. When I was done with when I got enough money, I'd come back, spend my $12, buy the book that I've already read twice, and now I own it and I can actually start marking it up and playing with it. So in that same sort of vein, to me, this is closing a really large karmic loop for me as a thank you and payback to B. Dalton for being such a great company and allowing some stupid little kid keep himself out of trouble and being able to make a good market decision for himself, because it was hard to make money back then, and I want to make sure it was a good investment. So I'd always read the books when they came out, and after a couple of weeks I knew which one I'd want to buy, and so I had a roster of books, and every time I could buy one, I'd just go back there and buy it and just read books in the meantime. It was great. So that's the kind of attitude I want to bring into the stuff that I sell here on the DMs Guild. Technically, Wizards of the Coast owns all of this stuff. I just share profits with them for creating it, and I get to use the Roll20 platform to promote it. So check this stuff out. You don't owe me anything, but if you want to support, God bless you. So Bastions, that's what we're actually working on today. I'm going to peel this document out of the tabs that we're working on now, and we're going to spend some more time today breaking down the facilities that are listed in the DMG and dispersing them amongst the different orders that can be issued to Bastions, and restructuring the facilities based on whatever benefits you get from, like, say, we just did the Demiplane, which is a facility that requires the empowerment command. Like, you gain proficiency in these commands, so that when you have proficiency in command, you roll an extra die to get a higher ability check result when you're doing something involving that command. And you have the ability to now invest in facilities that give you additional perks. So in the case of the Demiplane, we go down here, see text, going down here to look at under empowerment, like, for example, Demiplane, you have to have a 5th rank guild to be able to set up your own little dimensional portal. But when you do, the extra dimensional plane moves at a different speed than here, so time speeds up for you. So you can reduce crafting time by 1 degree. There's 4 degrees. It takes a day, it takes a week, it takes a season, or it takes a year. And so when you're in the Demiplane, you can reduce it by 1 down to an hour, which is normally not possible. Otherwise, if you're harvesting materials, like if you're growing crops in your Demiplane, you can reduce the harvest check to, when you're making harvest checks, you're basically seeing, do we have the resources on hand for us to be able to produce whatever it is that we're trying to build. Like, if I need to build 100 suits of leather armor, do I have enough leather in my facilities to be able to accommodate that? And if I don't, how many goat and cows do I need to butcher and start getting to work on tanning the leather so I do have the materials to create that armor? That's what that check would determine. And then for research, just the same. It doesn't reduce the amount of time it takes to research. It just makes you more thorough in being able, so you reduce the DC. So everything can't just go faster because you're in a different rate of speed. Sometimes things take the same amount of time. It just gets easier because you have more time to make sure you get it done right. So, hey, what's up? Very cool story. Oh yeah, right on, man. That's my life. That's me growing up. It's been a great. I honestly have had a very blessed life. I'm very thankful for it. So we've broken up the different bastions up to Demiplane. We've spent a lot of time on figuring out how the structure of things operates. We got to a point here where we know that you can craft mundane items. You can empower magic items. That's the difference there. And if you're going to empowering items requires an item to be available. It's either completed already and you're now empowering it, or you have to build the item while you're empowering it, making both craft and empowerment checks at the same time. When you're crafting something, you have to have enough material to craft that item. So we have go down to here where I feel like I'm lost. Hold on. Issuing orders, specific orders. There we go. Craft, empower, harvest. Here we go. So there's 3 types of material that you can harvest: plants, animals, and minerals. Plants would be like crops, or like a greenhouse, or like a mushroom farm. Animals is like like a herd, like a herd of horses, or a herd of ox, buffalo, cows, goats, zebra, emu, kank. It could also be like eggs, like from chickens and stuff like that. You're harvesting eggs, right? So, and then minerals is mining, right? You're digging holes and pulling out precious or industrial minerals out of the earth to get then smelted into ingots that can be worked into objects that you're crafting. So when you have a harvest operation, it requires a settlement. And a settlement is a special form of facility. While a facility is like a building where things take place, a settlement is a location, like an outdoor location, that has a population of people that perform the order that you issue to that settlement. So if I want to have crops, I need a settlement that can support those crops. If I want to have a mineral harvesting operation, I need a mine, like an iron mine or a gold mine, which requires a settlement of support for sleeping, managing foodstuffs, protection from the elements, protection from creatures and bandits, as well as an operation of being able to transport, to clean, refine, and transport the ore, or even potentially smelt it at the facility into ingots, and then distribute it off to wherever it needs to go. That's a fairly evolved economy for a role-playing game that's dealing with different types of industry, but we're just reducing it down to a single die roll. So when you build these communities, you don't really worry so much about like what specific. If you want to geek out and build your village for your settlement, you're welcome to do so. If you want to keep track of how many houses are there and the population and the birth rate of kids there and the names and who runs the church and what church is it, how many schools, is a school at the church or is it independent? Is there more than one species that hangs out? You can dive when they talk in the DMG about your players can take control of, like, can share DM responsibilities through Bastion. They didn't let you set up a settlement, but if you do set up a settlement, that's the kind of depth. Build your village for me, and then that can become like a map location for battles. If it becomes embroiled in a military conflict, for example, you have to go defend your settlement. That, like we were talking about at the very beginning of the stream, that leans into that Dominion style of play, a Bastion campaign where you are developing facilities and settlements to be able to gather and process resources for you to be able to, like, make magic items for your high-level characters so they can go fight demons or whatever. So there's different, or like they will create a library so that you can research information and hire sages. So you can ask them questions to get information about the next MacGuffin that you need for your current character's adventure. This stuff folds back that you have this resource available that you've developed, and it becomes a massive gold sink for you. People are like, it looks like the main complaint is that most people are starting to observe that this Bastion system, if you play it, you actually generate more gold than you spend, and it actually compounds the problem of the of 5e gameplay, which is I have no place to dump my gold. Harumph. So what we do is we have a gold value that scales depending on the rank of your facility, and it's again the half casting progression. I'm going to retread some information here. So you can gain ranks in your guild independent of your character's level, but if you really wanted to, when you get to level 5, you automatically gain 4 resources, and then you'll gain a couple. You gain 1, 2, 3. You gain 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So by the time you get to 9th level, you get the extra 2 points, and now you're a 3rd rank Bastion. By the time you get to 13th level, 9 to 15 is 6 points, so like you get 2 points per level. If you want to just automatically scale your Bastion to match the level of your character, you can do that. But I recommend don't. Leave your Bastion at the level of whatever it is. And when the Bastion creates complications, you can scale the complications to match the level of the characters, so that you can have the Bastion problems be the source and plot of adventures that you run for your characters to gain levels. And you can see here there's a gold value associated with each point of resource that your Bastion, when your Bastion accumulates enough resources, it gains rank. And here's the gold cost per resource at the different levels of ranks. Maybe we should have an example. Orders example. Shoe shop. Let's see. Second rank. Maybe this would be like a frontier. A frontier. What's the word I'm looking for? Supply depot. Third rank, we're looking at like a dock work. What would it be? It'd be like dry docks, a ship dry docks, boat production. a fourth rank, an example of a fourth rank Bastion. What might that be? Like, where do we step up from there into something like, what would be a good example? Like a pirate fleet. And then a fifth rank, an example of a fifth rank Bastion, like the Boros Legion, or House Cannith. Like the Boros Legion, Ravnica, as a worldwide acknowledged guild that's basically owns 10% of the world, or is like 10% of leadership of the world, controls 1/10 of the magic in the world. So it's a powerful organization, is world spanning. House Cannith in Eberron, they created the Warforged. They created half the machines of war that exist inside of Eberron. It is a world spanning, it's mostly in Corvair, but they're attempting to span the world. So maybe they're fourth and the fifth, but like a pirate fleet, like 20, 30 ships all operating together under a common goal of conquering, say, the Caribbeans. That would be fourth rank. Ship dry dock. Let's get ship dry docks instead. Let's go to pirate fleet, Rock of Brawl. How about that for Spelljammer? That would be. That's technically a settlement, but it's a comparable scale. 3 instead. Let's go with like a high end. Instead, let's say like a gem crafting. How about a gem mine? There you go. That's not a bad idea. That's a decent idea. The kind of stuff that you can set up here. Loose, crappy examples as they may be, but so as you gain resources, and you can as a task of your Bastion, you can attempt to invest in additional resources to expand your size. So you spend resources to either make ability checks as the Bastion for your characters, or you invest the resources into facilities. Like that demi-plane, for example, is a 5th rank facility. It requires you to basically expend 5 resources, kind of like spell points. You expend those 5 resources and you leave them permanently spent to maintain the demi-plane. So while those resources are spent, you can have a demi-plane. You could cash in those resources and ditch your demi-plane and get your resources back to spend someplace else if you wanted to. And whenever you issue an order while your Bastion is performing that order, that also ties up those resources until it's done. And then you get the resources back, typically on a once per week schedule is like a Bastion turn. But if you're like crafting something that takes, like a legendary magic item takes a year to craft, then those like 5 points to create that legendary magic item will be tied up for an entire year, unless you find a way to collapse time frames, perhaps with a demi-plane, or to, like if you have an artificer working with you, they can cut the time in half depending on what it is and their subclasses. So there's ways for you to be able to manipulate how long it takes to make magic items, and that leans into what kind of a character am I playing. Like in the Bastion system, artificers have a ton of value if you're really going to lean into Bastions as a crafting source, because all the blueprint, like all the magical item plans that an artificer can know, you can then hand off to your Bastion and say, build this, and they can. Otherwise, you have to research the plan needed to create the magic item, which is one of the research actions that you can take, or one of the orders that you can issue is research a plan. So we're looking at recruiting here. So there's a lot of stuff that, we're going to bounce around a little bit, but ideally where we're going to go next is after demi-plane is the gaming hall. So we're going to see what the components of the gaming hall are, and how can we break them up into different pieces in either issuing orders or creating facilities in the Bastion system, in the Bastion campaign system, and what sort of opportunities do these locations or these ideas create that can become adventuring hooks. Because when you fail a die roll in your Bastion, it's often like you will succeed at this task when you resolve the complication. And then you can randomly or roll what the complication is, or maybe the DM already knows what the complication is going to be because they've been sitting on an idea for a while. But every time your Bastion fails a die roll, it's you can't have this thing that you want, and we're going to keep your points tied up until you resolve this complication. That becomes your character's next plot hook. So you then go in, you resolve that problem, and when you do, poof, you resolve the problem, and now you can achieve whatever that Bastion thing was. You get the thing, and you get your resources back. And you keep going on, and you can keep scaling up. At a certain point, when you're adventuring and you want rewards, instead of handing your characters piles of meaningless gold, you can instead promise them resources. Hey, if you help us clear out this pirate fleet that's been blocking all commerce coming into our city, we'll give you what is effectively 30,000 gold worth of resources, which at third rank translates into 3 resources. So if you defeat the pirate fleet, this community would give you 3 resources, which you could then narrate as, and we're going to open up trade with you at cost. Because you helped us, you're welcome to set up shops here. If you want to build a warehouse here and start working with us, we want you to take responsibility and ownership of this place with us. So if there's a new problem in the future, you're invested to come back and make sure to keep it safe. These are the resources that we're investing into you. Like maybe they give you a warehouse, a private dock, and a workforce that maybe are new people that were displaced because of a war. Like, oh, this is perfect. We want to give you these people to work with you. Please employ them in your dock and warehouse. And now you've set up these resources for you to be able to have more materials on hand so you can craft more stuff, including magic items. So, and all that takes is going on an adventure that you probably would have gone on anyway, super cool. And when you make the crafting and the harvest checks, you're just making a single ability check for each of them to see, do we have enough material yet? No, we don't. What's wrong? Well, it turns out those pirates are starting to pick at our supply chain out of vengeance. So we need to clean up our supply chain. Okay, great. Well, let's clean up our supply chain. We completed our supply chain. Maybe we get some boats out of it too, so we can maybe pull in some more resources to expand our trade network between our home and this new community. And we resolve the materials problem. So now we have the materials that we need. We make the crafting check. I failed the crafting check. Crap. Well, what went wrong? It's like, well, and like when you're making magic items, you always succeed at making the magic item. If you fail the die roll, it has a minor quirk that you can roll on, like maybe it makes noise or it smells bad or something like it's an annoying thing that doesn't prevent you from using it, but it might not be ideal. So, I mean, you have it, you can sell it for half cost because it's weird, or you can just use it and just go with the quirkiness of it. If you fail your die roll by 10 or more, it's cursed and has a major artifact flaw. So it becomes a fucking problem you have to resolve, but it still works. So you can use it in the meantime if you need to, or it becomes a quest to do something about it. Or you can melt it down into Mizium and then rebuild it as different magic items to reharness the material as a crafting check. So these are the different things you can play with. But the point is that as you gain higher and higher levels, you don't have to worry about having stupid amounts of gold because it takes more and more gold to gain 1 point of resource the larger your organization is. So this becomes a massive gold sink for your character. Literally millions of gold you can dump into this, which is virtually impossible to collect out of a dragon's hoard. But if you save Waterdeep from destruction, they might very well give you a villa, a private dock, preferential trade treatments. There's about 50 acres worth of farmland that you can work, and we have these new trading rights coming in from the Underdark mine that's showing copper. Like, you might get 6 or 7 points of resources from Waterdeep. And it's like, yeah, we've got a decent facility going here now. So there you go. So yeah, that's well, I'm glad you like it, because that's what we're building. That's going to be after the Eberron adventure is finished, then this is what we're going to be dropping into the DMsGuild, and we'll be adding like tables, like if your harvest order goes wrong, what are some different, based on the settlement that you're harvesting in, what kind of flaws can, like what kind of what kind of encounters can occur, what kind of complications occur that your characters have to get involved in. Or if it's like a really low level craft that you're performing, like you have like a small, like a little village settlement that's working this fishing community, right? Because you're gathering fish as a harvesting resource now, harvesting material, fish, blah. Now you have this small village, and there's like, say there's marrow, which are water trolls. There's water trolls fucking with your fishing farm. You have to deal with that. Well, my 16th level characters aren't going to deal with that. How about we roll up some 5th level characters and go fight some trolls today? Because we're bored. Because we want to shake up the campaign. It's getting a little old. Well, why don't we make this village thing something? Let's start dumping resources and make this village really impressive and make it grow inside of the bastion of our higher level characters. Because what you can do is you can set up franchises. Sorry, this is my last tangent, and then we'll get to work. So settlements and franchises are the same thing. It is under the maintain ability. That's right. Settlements. You can create a settlement, and it's either you either spend one resource to create a first rank settlement, which has only literally one resource, but then you can start dumping resources into this settlement to make it grow while you're growing your bastion. And franchises are different, like guilds or businesses or like alternate bastions that don't necessarily have their own settlement. Like you can have a bastion in like an abandoned warehouse, like it's a hideout for a thieves guild. It's in an abandoned warehouse that you've arranged that it doesn't get torn down. So it just stays in place. It's technically not a settlement or anything you're responsible for. It's just a place for you to hide, and that becomes like a sub-bastion. So that can become a flop house franchise. So if your guild is rank 3, you can have one franchise, which costs one resource to create, and it's a first rank resource. If you have, if you're 4th rank as a bastion, you can have up to 2 franchises that can be up to 2nd rank if you're willing to invest 4 points of resources into each one of them. And then at 5th rank, you can have up to 3 franchises that can be 3rd rank each, and you have to invest 9 points into each one of them to have it. But this 3rd rank bastion itself could also have its own franchise at 1st rank. So you're making this, you're making this Russian, like this Russian dolls, like the dolls inside of the dolls inside of the dolls. You can create bastions, and then settlements don't have a franchise limitation. It's just however many settlements you have set up, you have to have enough points to be able to maintain them. But they can grow in size too. And so the general rule is that if a franchise or settlement ever equals the size of your bastion, they'll shatter. They'll break apart. The franchise loses half of its resources, and you keep that franchise, but the other half of the resources you lose, and you create a rival, which is somebody that breaks away from you and starts competing because they have a different ideal, flaw, or bond that they want to adhere to using 2014 terms. So you create a rival using this in the same industries as your franchise was. So now you have a new source of complications. If you have a rival, when you run across complications, like the project sabotaged by one of your rivals. And so you can then use that to build tension between different organizations. And those rivals could be different businesses, it could be different nations, it could be different religions. It could be like like an assassin's guild that has a hate on you, or it could be like a wizard that doesn't like the way that you craft spells. It could be anything, whatever kind of a rival you want to build. But the consequence of a franchise growing too quickly is that you lose half the resources. So then it has to start rebuilding again. But you are allowed to, because every time you want to perform a task, it eats resources. And when you don't have any resources left, you have to wait for something to free up or get more resources. So if you franchise, you can create more resources inside of your resources. So if you really, really, really want to lean into the Bastion system, you can have these cascading settlements and cascading franchises that are all owned by a larger corporation that it might have all of its resources invested just in franchises and settlements. It doesn't actually do anything. It just maintains different franchises and organizations. So it becomes a shell corporation that owns all these other corporations inside of it. And it's all just resolved with a single ability check. So super easy. You make one ability check a week for every task that you want to perform. When you run out of resources, you can't perform any more tasks. And if those tasks succeed at the end of however long it took, typically a week, you get whatever that thing was, and then you issue new commands, orders. If the Bastion fails the order, it creates a complication that then becomes an adventure hook for your characters or somebody else to resolve. Like you could technically have a fixed team. You could recruit specialists. Where was it? Governorship. You can assume responsibility of an established community currently without leadership. The rank of the community is the amount of resources that it requires for you to govern it, and this is the size of the settlement that you would require. So it just scales. It's just the settlement's already been created. So that's you basically performing a coup or assassinating like the emperor and then taking over. Hail Caesar. Then you know that's what governorship is. But you can also have like a standing army that you recruit. Like I need to patrol that village, right? So okay, great. We're going to invest a point of resource to have up to 10 soldiers if we can have them accept a poor lifestyle or better. Yeah, but you can also create specialists and. So the smaller communities we're talking about, like having lower level characters. This is like how you would be able to fuel that. We have our main bastion, and then we have this settlement, this fishing community. It's a second rank. It's a second rank settlement. We're going to build 5th level characters to caretake that area, so we can take a break from our high level characters while the DM figures out what the next move is, and let's just do some low level bullshit. But it's still going to progress the campaign because it's furthering the goals of your high-level characters. So it builds this nested doll cascade of different adventuring groups that your campaign can run. And if you wanted to, you could West March it. You could choose the Bastion, and a team will go in as that Bastion and do whatever it is that you want to mess around with. Let's do that on Thursday. There's like 3 or 4 of us. Yeah, let's just push the agenda of that fishing community. What's going on? So you could build West March communities out of this idea. So for the Emperor, yeah. So there we go. So that's a long-winded description of what's going on, and I often go through pieces of that every now and again. What is it? It's been 40 minutes since I started streaming. Jesus. So, but that's the idea. That's what this book is about. So, I say these things over and over again because eventually I'm going to have to turn it into text, and I'm going to put it into the book. That's good coffee. So the more I talk about it, the more it crystallizes in my mind what is it I actually need to put in the book. And then when I make a book, I can put link reference to the playlist here, and you can see me building it. so that's I'm really looking forward to doing Kickstarters. So once I start doing Kickstarters, it'll be fun to me because I'm going to do this with this idea. If you think this idea is cool and you want to see me do that with it, jump on board, and here's my Discord channel, and here's the document. Let's go. So I hope that ends up being something cool that people are interested in doing in the future. I really hope so. Okay, so the last thing I want to do while I'm here right now is because we've been working on we've been translating the UA Artificer that came out for 2024. That came out this week, so we've been translating that into the spell point system that we use because we have the color mana system for Magic the Gathering that we use, and we've been developing the martial power system. So we're translating the Artificer and the magical plans that they can know to replicate magic items. You can use those plans in your Bastion to issue orders. So I need to make sure I have language in here for research, because that's a research task. So hirelings research information about persons, places, things, and events. The subject of the reacher, and well, that's good enough. So I'm gonna get rid of that. There are 3 types of materials. Originally, we were looking at mana being a material, but that's really empowerment. So there are 3 types of materials. So Method in the Madness. That's the dream. That's the dream, Steve. Issuing orders, proficiency, Bastion dice. And when you're proficient with an order, you can add you roll a d20, and normally you'd roll a d20 and add the rank of your guild, and there you go. But if you're proficient in an order, you get to add an extra, like a bardic inspiration die, basically. We originally called it an industry die, but now it's just a Bastion die. So cheers. But you'd roll a Bastion die, and you would add that, kind of like a proficiency bonus, or like an ability check bonus, or like an ability score bonus. It's an added variable that I use it in the Spelljammer book that we have linked down below, where when you're commanding multiple creatures, you can't guarantee they're all going to work in perfect coordination or not. So sometimes you roll a 1. Sometimes they're all inside each other's head and they're moving as a single unit. That's like an 8 on the D8, right? So like that fluctuation in bonuses on the proficiency die speaks to there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Let's see if they're going to work well together today or not, and that can make or break your die roll. So like a 5th rank guild, which is effectively like a 17th level character, can roll as a 7. Because you can roll a 1 on a d20, you can roll a 1 on the d12, and you get a +5 bonus because of your guild, because the Bastion's 5th rank. So you could roll as low as a 7, or as high as a 37. So your range is 7 to 37. A 12 on the die roll, a 20 on the d20, and then +5 for your Bastion. That's really good. There's virtually nothing in the game that require like nearly impossible is a DC 30. So there's basically a 1 in 4 chance that your Bastion at its highest rank can perform the impossible, which is what you should be able to do in a magical society that has basically the resources available to like the United States military. It's like that's a 5th rank. That's a 5th rank Bastion. It's a really good example of one. So like imagine they want to apply it's like $7 trillion towards something in the next 5 years. They're probably going to achieve whatever that thing is. That's like what a 5th rank. That's like a 5th rank Bastion can do when it puts its mind to something. So that's what that 37 result would be. So what I wanted to do was go down into research to make sure we have language about creating magical plans. Maintain, recruit, research, historical lore, gather information / spy. That's basically what it is. It's spying on something or casing a joint. If you want to have like a really quick, real easy heist system using Bastion, what you do is you dump a shitload. You dump all of your dump all your resources into research, and choose the place that you want to case. Choose the people that work there, and choose all the people, the people that frequent it that aren't employed there most often. Take all of the as many resource points as you can, dump them into those ideas, and then gather information / spy for those reasons for a week. At the end of the week, perform the heist mission. So your characters like raid the castle or whatever. Like maybe you have to break somebody out of a dungeon. So you're going to spend a week investing all of your Bastion's resources into finding out everything they can about the castle, the dungeon, the people that work there, other people that are imprisoned there. And what's the cycle of resources coming in and out of the castle. You spend all your points on that. You make your die rolls. You'll set basically a challenge. The difficulty result that you get on a scale from 10 to 30 is however many questions you get to ask about each subject. So if you roll really high, you can ask a bunch of kind of like a commune spell. You can ask the DM a bunch of questions, and they can give you factual information about it. But what you can also do instead, or in addition to that, you can make your research check, and the result of the DC. This is the number of inspiration dice that you get to re-roll d20s during the course of the heist, or roll a Bastion die as a bardic inspiration die and add it to the ability check that you made. And what that represents is when you use that die. When you use that inspiration die, you flash back to your Bastion performing research, saying, "Yeah, I remember we found out there's like this half orc on this prison block that has connections to the mafia, and we know that they pipe in information and resources to their made men in jail, And that happens typically like every other week. So it happens that next week, if we hold off on our heist by 2 days, we might be able to get them to smuggle stuff in for us to be able to make it easier for us to extract the target that we want. So when we're actually inside of the dungeon and performing the task, and like we run into an obstacle, like we can't pick the lock. It's like, oh, wait a second. You reach back into your flashback of your guild, and you say, actually, we have this skeleton key that we had carved off of one of the old guards that was there. So it might work. So then you can either add your Bastion die or just re-roll the die, burn one of your research points, and now you have one less. But you got through the obstacle of that door being locked. Like stealth checks, like, well, we know that guard switches in 20 minutes. So if we time ourselves to try to sneak into the facility at that time, we might be able to catch them with their backs turned to us. And if you fail your die roll, it's like you wind back. It's like, no, I know what the timing on this is. All we have to do is just wait another moment, and then we can go. And then you get to add that extra D8 to the die roll, and that's all you need to do to succeed at the die roll. So like that's a way for you to be able to work in that like Blades in the Dark leverage style of gameplay, to be able to reference your Bastion during the game for having, like, this is what we invested all of our resource points into, a shitload of rerolls. So when we see the die result and we know it's like, oh, that's not going to work. So you can keep re-rolling it, adding to the narrative of like, why can you make these adjustments to your die roll? What research did you find out about this place? And your players, as taking control as the DM, are just making up these details as they go. And the DM can just be taking notes and start creating plot hooks out of that as future complications when your team tries to do additional heists in the future. For example, that's like just like one way you can manipulate the 5e game engine using this Bastion system to have a narrative system that reinforces and makes very plausible and smart for you to be able to implement those ideas to get those adjustments to your ability checks. Because that heist mission now becomes a more interactive exploration challenge where you want to have a cascade of skill tests that the team needs to get through, because it's not just, I'm just going to roll the die, did I pass or fail? It's like, you rolled the die, do you want to pass or fail? It's like, well, I'm going to choose to fail. Okay, well, that's going to create a complication. So now people are showing up or blah, 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 whatever an encounter is. But you're like, no, I don't want that to fail. It's like, well, justify it. What research do you have that's going to be able to say that you can turn, what do you know about this circumstance that is going to allow you to re-roll that die and burn one of your resources while you're doing it? Like, it creates that gamification that is famous in Blades of the Dark or in the old D20 leverage game system. It's super easy to implement, and this provides the narrative, the Ludo narrative wrap to be able to do that with. So that's one of the things that we're playing with. But we have gather information, we have historical lore, and that's all we have. So what are we going to call it? Magical blueprints. That's what we're going to call it. So I'm going to add this task, this order in real quick, and then we're going to start peeling apart more pieces of the Bastion system in the DMG to see how those ideas can either create new orders or new facilities that we can put down below using this structure. Research, magical, magical plans. Your Bastion discovers the plans to create a magic item. The rank of Bastion determines, let's not do it that way. Let's go with the rarity of magic item determines the DC to discover plans for that item. Rarity. Common. Uncommon. Rare. Very rare. Legendary. There you go. So any guild can research any type of magical plans, and any character can attempt to create that. But a Bastion on its own cannot just create any magic item that it has plans for. The Bastion has to be of a high enough rank to actually produce it themselves. You have brewing potions, we have scribing scrolls, and we have enchant magic items. There we go. So depending on the rarity of the magic item, that's the difficulty set to be able to actually create the magic item, the effective level of whatever the item can be, like spell level, and how long it takes to create it. So you can create any magical plans if you're willing to spend. Oh, we also need a duration. That's right. But you have to be a large. Your Bastion has to be significant in size enough to be able to create the magic item correctly, and that's first rank, second rank, third rank, fourth rank, fifth rank. But a character can create one at any level, assuming that they don't blow the die roll. But they have to make the ability check themselves. But the Bastion, if you invest resources, can add their Bastion die to your crafting check, making it more easy for you to succeed. Hey, Nightmare, it's good to see you, my guy. Attempt to stop a traveling noble's caravan. Your Bastion is your group's... Yeah. That would absolutely work. Absolutely 100%. Hey, Agile. You could pull off crazy trick arrows against magical carriage bubbles. Oh, I see what you're trying to say. Your Bastion is your group's camp. You could pull out crazy trick arrows against magical carriage. Sure, absolutely. If you're going to use your Bastion and invest the resources of the Bastion to allow your characters rerolls, you can reskin those rerolls literally any way that you want. It could really just dissolve into cops and robbers. As long as you have dice to throw, you can just be making up the narrative of what you're doing. Spoiler alert, the role-playing game that I plan on kickstarting that I'm waiting for my trademark to come through, that's kind of how the game works. It's all ability checks at like a really deep level of ability checks with very little action economy, and you're doing a lot of improvised narrative about what your character is doing to impact the world around them while they're making their checks. And it's all, of course, I'm making it so it's all very structured, and it makes it easy for DMs to be able to decide, how do I want to process these die rolls? How do I create conflicts, complications, traps, trickeries, etc. If you've seen my Eberron Spelljammer stream, you'll get a good idea of what that kind of a game mechanic is going to look like, because that Asteroid Belt mining campaign that I'm running is the playtest for that Kickstarter game. So by the time we get our guild built up to 5th rank, and we're basically trucking around with 18th level characters, we'll have ran the full gamut of what building these resources can do, and we've been able to iron out what are really good game loops, what are really bad ways of presenting complications. I'll have the opportunity to iron all that out and be able to provide guidance through all that stuff. This is basically the 5e version of what that Beckme style OSR game is going to be, like Shadow Dark, Mutant Masterminds, 5e, 3e, 4e, 1st E, Beckme, Numenera, or any Cypher system game, Pathfinder. It works with all of them. If you roll a d20 and you add a number to get to your results, you can use this. So pretty easy. Anyway, that's the future. I suspect that's going to be 2026. So stick around. I'll get to it eventually, and it'll be fucking awesome when we do, because I'll ran a full campaign with it to basically acid test how it works. So, cheers. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it works with Spelljammer. Absolutely. If enough. Yeah. Definitely. Bullshit. I mean, whatever magic defense is a high. Yeah, absolutely. Because the DM doesn't have to really justify what it is. If you decide that this this cart has X amount of resources available to it, you can be deflecting or minimizing hits from your team trying to take down this carriage. You're basically counter testing each other with ability checks. So, but yeah, super liquid system, very, very liquid. Duration, but you get it. You just instinctively get it, because that's the kind of player and DM you are. So that only takes a well, we know it's going to be a year for legendary, and we know it's going to be a season here. This should be a week, right? Week. Let's say, yeah, let's go season, year for very rare. But of course, an artificer could just say, yeah, here's the plans. It's my magical ability. There you go. You can save all that time. Or conversely, you could just perform research and like say, let's spend a season just performing research. And at the end of that time frame, you make your die roll. And if the DC is 20 or less, you succeed at creating that rare, uncommon, or common magical plan that you can now, hey, look, this is a thing we discovered. I think it would work. Let's build one as a prototype to see if it's something we can do. And if it is, there you go. The catch is, if you want to build a magic item, a character has to attune to the creation process. So if the item ends up rolling a fail by 10 or more, it's cursed. You're already automatically attuned to it, so your character becomes cursed, and you have to resolve that. This also prevents your characters from just mass spamming magic items, because even if the item doesn't require attunement to create, to use it, it requires attunement to craft it. So if your character is crafting it, you're going to be there, you're going to be making a die roll, you're attuned to it, you're using whatever spell you need. If your guild, if your Bastion is a high enough level to be able to create the magic item for you, you still have to, at minimum, attune to the process because it's your Bastion. There you go. So you have to attune to it. So that also puts a set limit on how much stuff is created, unless you have a facility that specifically like creates potions, for instance. Then you don't have to attune to that. It can scribe scrolls. If it's a facility that you're constantly investing resources into to like stockpile potions or to stockpile scrolls, then it's just inventory to them. And that kind of explains like how does this place make money? So when we sell healing potions, does that mean I have 1 billion healing potions? No, it means most of the healing potions that we make go out the door. But if you need us to set a stash aside for you, we can do that. So you have the facility of magic potion production, or like potion, like healing cauldron, or whatever it is we're going to call it. So that's a way for you to be able to prevent yourself from overclocking your resources, because you don't build gold when you have a Bastion. You build resources, and those resources get funneled back into tasks and facilities inside of your Bastion. But you can also, again, with the gold value that we have, you can cash in. Where is it? It's under trade. Hold on, I just want to show this one off. Acquire materials. That's if you don't harvest anything yourself, you can trade with people to get access to it. Risky investment. There you go. You gamble or lend resources to NPCs for a promise of returns. Make a Bastion check. You gain a number of temporary resources next Bastion turn as listed below. So keep in mind, if you don't invest any resources in the die roll, it's just a D20 plus your rank. So, and these are the results that you get. But like a 5th rank guild could invest 5 points into it to roll a D12 on top of the D20 plus 5. You've got a really good chance of at least breaking even, or potentially hitting a huge jackpot if your guild rolls really, really high. This is how this would translate basically into venture capital, or what is it? The kind of investing, equity. There you go, equity investment. And you can also auction off resources. There's a Bastion lifestyle that you have to maintain, and the DC requires resources for you, and you have to maintain a certain level of lifestyle for your Bastion, or you start making death saving throws. And if you die as a result of failing death saving throws because you can't maintain at least a poor lifestyle in your Bastion, it goes bankrupt and you lose resources, and the guild drops its rank. So, and then there's, auctioning resources. So depending on the rank of your guild, determines how long it takes to auction off 1 point of resource, and when you do, the result of your DC is what the percent value of the resource is. So like a third rank Bastion could auction off for 3 points, could auction off one of its resources, and that one resource, let's say you roll a DC of 20, it's going to be 55% of the value of a third rank resource. A third rank resource is worth 10,000 gold. So I'm going to get 5,500 experience. I'm going to get 5,500 gold after a season of trying to auction off that resource. I finally find somebody who can afford it, but they're only going to give it to me for 55%. Well, great. There you go. So that allowed me to get liquid cash. I can always get cash. I can always get 10% tomorrow. Like I could auction off a resource tomorrow and get 1,000 gold for it because I'm willing to just throw it away. A fifth rank Bastion could throw away a resource and get 100,000 gold immediately. But your characters are probably 17th level, and that doesn't really mean a lot to them anymore. Anyway, so against the DC determined 10%. Are you the player making this trade roll, or no? You're making the trade roll, and then you and the DM get to, like, if you succeed the die roll, you're basically you can narrate as much of it as the DM wants to. After you make the die roll, it basically becomes a social interaction between, like, where do these resources come from? What do you want it to look like? What kind of an organization is this? If you fail the die roll, the DM creates a complication. So, like, you'll get this thing that you want, but you have to deal with this obstacle first. And so if you and the player have a conversation about, yeah, I want to get access to iron, and I think it'd be really fucking cool if there was, like, some dwarves or something in these mountains over here on the map. Like, if there was dwarves over in that area that we could work with, then we could start building a relationship with dwarves. That would give my dwarven character some ties to the community and start building renown for himself with those dwarves. DM's like, that's a great idea, but you failed your die roll. So they can't give you any iron right now. Apparently, they have a troll problem. Do you want to go fight some trolls? We're 7th level? Yeah, let's go fight trolls. Okay, great. We're going to go fight some trolls. You kill the trolls, then you're going to get the dwarves help. They're immediately going to give the ore, just walk it back with you, and now you have a relationship with those dwarves because that's what your team wanted. So that's the DM says, like Jeremy Crawford said, if you go with the Bastion system, that allows players to kind of have a hand at DMing while they're playing. Like, that's the way that you would actually make that mean something, because you're now really actually changing the world. Maybe the DM's like, no, there's specifically no dwarves there. Oh, you have a complication. Actually, there used to be dwarves there, but there's a curse under the mountain, so they had to stop mining iron there. Tell you what, if you can go and clean the curse out, they can go back into the facility. They'll give you the iron ore that they have right now. They'll just give it to you. But now they've opened up that iron mine under the mountain. You've given that back to them. Yeah, we're 13th level characters. Let's go do that. Yeah, let's break a curse. That sounds awesome. And that becomes your adventure. So, yeah, exactly. That's what we were talking about earlier. So yeah, exactly. Like that fishing community. It's a second rank. It's a second rank settlement. It's a fishing community. They gather salmon. But there's water trolls that are eating all the salmon. So now we're going to make 5th level characters, and we're going to go fight those trolls. At the end of that, the village is saved, and now you can cash in that, I don't know, fish scales or whatever it is that you're looking for. Anyway, but yeah, you get it. You totally get it. That's exactly how it works. So it's super fun. I've been using this style of game at my home table since February. So they're about to become a 3rd rank guild. And they've got 4 different groups of characters. They've got fighter pilots that patrol the asteroids. They fight giant monsters that come from space. They've got 2 different delving teams that work different types of rocks. They have a diplomacy team that negotiates with different trade groups and different nations that they might have to invade space in to deal with the asteroids that they're messing around with. And they want to do a heist mission, so they're going to build spies soon. But they haven't needed to do one yet. So, but those are the different groups that they've been running around with, and they're about to complete a new delving mission, and then they're going to spend a bunch of resources setting traps in the asteroid that they've been exploring. They found an ancient temple inside of an asteroid, so the miners stopped so that the delvers could go in and make sure the temple is okay and look for anything interesting to extract from there as treasure. And so they go in there, and they've just about finished it up. But this asteroid's drifting, and it's going to drift into Droam territory, like 3 days from now. So if they can clean this place up, they're planning on dumping a bunch of resources into trapping it, so that if Droam finds the temple and goes into it, it's going to kill all of their delvers. So they're hoping that it'll knock down Droam's delving resources, so that they can't clean up as many asteroids, because there's a bunch of drifting asteroids that come in and out of different people's territories, and they're expecting to see new asteroids coming in from Droam into their territory in about a week. So they're hoping they can tear down Droam's delving resources, so that they have to leave asteroids untended, and so they aren't harvested, so that when they drift into the character's orbit, they can harvest the materials off of that and get more resources. So there's a lot of different ways you can expend resources. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. So, but yeah, you can immediately convert any game into a Bastion style like this just by giving them a building to fuck around with, or a plot of land. Call it a point of resources. Congratulations. You automatically gain the maintain. And again, this document's 100% available for you guys to read. It might not be the easiest thing for you guys to parse through right now. My apologies, but again, it's right. It's literally right here. You can use the entire document right now as I'm building it. So, be welcome to do so. All right, I think I finally ran down all of my excitement. We finished the research for the magical plans. So let's go back quick to the. Since I created the magical plans, I now have to come into here. Enchant magic items requires mana or mineral material requires magical plan. And brew healing potions requires magical plans. I'm thinking about changing. It's currently listed as like this is the maximum amount of hit points that you can brew per week, depending on the rank, that you can break up into 2d4 plus 2 potions, or 4d4, or whatever scale you want. Like a single potion that heals 10d4 plus 10. You can take that on an adventure with you if you want. Same thing with scribing scrolls. I'm considering whether I want to have these as separate actions, or if I want to compile it all into a single action, create magic item, and then have subdivisions between each, or if I just want to make them separate orders altogether. Right now, we're kind of structuring it as separate orders, but like armor and weapons, maybe that would be one. Scrolls is another. Potions is a third. And then like maybe rods, staves, and wands would be a fourth. And then maybe just wondrous items in general would be a fifth. I think that covers it all. So I could have 5 different tasks that break down that way. I'm not 100% yet. So requires magical plants. It could also be that I don't need this task at all. I can instead, like once I have the empowerment skill, I can invest resources into a like a scriptory that automatically generates scrolls for me. I could do that. Maybe I should do it like an omni, like an empower all, like all magic items. Here you go, and just make it generic, and then have specific facilities for each type of those items to make it like the higher rank you are, the more efficiently, like the demiplane, for example. I could have like a scriptory that reduces, that makes it easier for me to have the spell that I want in stock. And if it was in a demiplane, if I failed the die roll, like maybe I get a free reroll. I don't know, something like that. That's an idea. Let me scoot this over a touch because I feel like it's getting clipped. Yeah, there we go. So that's the idea. So let's see. That was Empower, Scribe Scrolls, and now we're into Harvest Material, which requires a settlement, which we talked about earlier. That fishing village or the mine. And it can get as complicated as you want, or it can stay as light as you want. Like if you don't want cascading franchises and multiple settlements inside of your Bastion, or if you want all that, and then each character could have their own Bastion, their own settlement, and have like this massive resource pool where there's like 4 or 5 different complications at a time. Like our guild right now, whenever they've got basically 9 territories that they're harvesting minerals from every 10 days. because our week is 10 days. We're using 10 days. So they have 9 rolls that they make, and they typically get anywhere from 2 to 5 complications. So these different complications, like these are different problems that get crop up, like labor force strikes, monsters attacking. We found something weird. We have to have it delved. A competing guild is trying to poach it. Somebody's claiming rights over it. There's a diplomacy crisis. There's like all these different types of complications that can come up, but the players can only deal with one at a time. So they choose which one they want to do, and then all the other complications are resolved with an ability check by the Bastion. And if it succeeds, then they resolve the problem, and then everything goes hunky-dory. If the Bastion fails, it now escalates to a higher level of difficulty. And it's like, do you want to deal with it yourself now? Or do you want to have the Bastion try it another way? Because once you try it one way, like if we try to solve it, like if we try to solve it with recruiting by sending specialists in and they fail, we can't do that again. We now have to like maybe trade and use trade to like maybe offer resources in exchange for resolving the problem. If that fails, shit, maybe we now need to spend time researching to find out what is it exactly it is that they're camping us for, and can we provide that to them? Like, do we have the means of doing that? We just don't understand. And at this point, you failed 3 times. It's like, this is becoming a really big issue, and it's been sitting on the character's plate for 4 adventures now. It's like, shit, we probably want to deal with that. So that becomes their mission, and now it's a bigger deal than it would have been because your Bastion wasn't able to like contain it. So like in that one, we have a military resource for like fighter craft to go fight space monsters if the team doesn't want to do that today. Like they fought 200-foot mimics a couple weeks ago that disguised themselves as asteroids, and they would eat their cargo ships on the way by. So like we got to hunt down mimics. So that took them a while to do that. But like I don't think we want to do another one of those for a while. So there are other military operations that are happening in their territories. They're just letting the Bastion resolve it with the die roll because they don't want to do that. They want to delve. They love delving. It's like they just love the fucking Beckme dungeon delve. It's so great. So like, okay, great. We'll just do more delves. All this other stuff, it'll eventually turn into a delve if you leave it alone long enough. They're like, great, do that. So okay, great. So having said all that, hey, we're finally into it. Gambling Hall. Gambling Hall offers recreational activities like chess and games of darts, cards, dice. As a trade task, Gambling Hall, you can issue the trade order to the facility. The facility hirelings turn the gaming hall into a gambling den for 7 days. At the end of the 7th day, roll D100 and consult the following table to determine your portion of the house winnings. This we already have in here, which we have down as a trade task. That's right. Yeah, we did that already. The trade task is risky investment. You gamble or lend resources to NPCs for a promise of returns. So here's the die roll. However many resources you invest, maybe you'll get a profit, maybe you won't. So like if a 5th ranked guild invests 5 points to add a D12 to their D20 plus 5, and they end up rolling a 1 and a 1, they only get a 7, they lose all of their resources, and they create a complication. Like maybe the feds are starting to investigate them for crime. Fuck. Okay, well, we got to go deal with that somehow. Yeah. Okay. That doesn't sound like a great adventure, Phil. Can we just like throw some resources at it and maybe it'll go away? It's like, yeah, make the die roll. After 7 days, let's make a die roll on that. Fuck. Just got worse. Okay, well, now you're being indicted. So what do you want to do about that? Zone of Truth is going to be nasty. What can we do? And then you have to start brainstorming, how do we want to resolve this problem? Come up with a plan, do it yourself, or invest enough resources into having hiring on a crew that can do it for you. And then there you go. Or build new characters and deal with it at a lower level that's befitting the task at hand, instead of humiliating your 17th level characters with like FaceTime in court for traffic tickets, whatever. So that's the idea. So we already have risky investment put into place. That's good. This is where we were at. We were at Garden last time because that's how we figured out how harvesting works. Garden. A Bastion can have more than one garden. Each time you add a garden to your Bastion, choose its type from the option of garden table below. While in your Bastion, you can instruct the facility's hirelings to change the garden from one type to another. This work takes 21 days, 3 weeks, during which time no other activity can occur in this facility. Harvest. Garden growth. When you issue the harvest order to this facility, you can commission the facility's hirelings to collect items from the garden as noted in the garden type table. The work takes 7 days and costs no money. Enlarging the facility, you can make it bigger. A vast garden is equivalent to two roomy gardens. Can include 2 of the same type of garden or 2 different types of gardens. When you issue the harvest order to a vast garden, each component garden produces its own harvest. A vast garden gains 1 additional hireling. So that gets subsumed. To harvest, you have to have a settlement. And we talked about establishing a settlement, and we also talked about spending resources to assume governorship of an existing settlement. In either case, you have to have a settlement to harvest resources, to harvest material. There's 3 types of material: plants, animals, and minerals, like we were talking about before. So for us to have a garden, that would be harvesting plant materials. So we would do that if we wanted to craft an item that requires plant materials. Like, for example, if we want to make padded armor, we need to have access to like cotton, which is a plant, which needs to be harvested from a settlement of a sufficient size to meet the task. 5th rank task, 5th rank facility. So you have 5th rank settlement. So you'd have to have, like, if I'm going to build leather armor for 10,000 troops, I'm going to have to slaughter 3,000 cows. So that means I need a lot of fucking cows. That means I need a large pasture, which means I need a large settlement to oversee that, because the larger the settlement, the larger area it can cover. So you can start populating your hex crawls with zones of control of different organizations, like this hill giant tribe. For example, there might be 15 hill giants in it, but they control a 100-mile territory because they're all size huge creatures that move around in squads. They need to be able to be like in 1 hex every other day, hunting, so by the time they come back around to their hex again, it's been repopulated and they can feed off of it again. That's how dragons work as well. So you can look at the CR of the dragon or the CR of the creature and its size to determine what its rank is, to determine what kind of a zone of control would have over. So if you enter that hex, you know I'm going to be in this green dragon's territory for like the next 50 miles because it's an ancient green dragon. It owns 50 miles of swamp, and you'll know when you're in it because shit's going to get really, really nasty. So keep an eye out for that. Like, you can start creating these zone controls using the same philosophy. So it really is just a really great substrata mechanic to add ludonarrative and like gamify basically everything that you do inside of the game. That's like a downtime activity. It just provides a universal system to be able to operate inside of that space. So garden. So we already know how harvesting works. We know that if we're going to, whatever crafting task we're going to provide, that's going to set the DC. The DC is determined, and then the size of your bastion or the size of your resources, the size of the settlement that is harvesting the materials that you need will make a die roll based on their size of their guild, and if they hit the DC for the difficulty to gather those resources, if you succeed at that die roll, then you have the resources on hand. Otherwise, I don't have them yet, boss. We need more blank, or we're having a complication with blah. Or you can reserve, as a facility, you can have a warehouse set up. And so if I reserve, like if I permanently tap 5 resources in my warehouse, then I will automatically be able to perform a crafting. I'll automatically be able to perform a crafting check at a 5th rank of difficulty, because I'll already harvested and have available the resources that you need, without diving too deeply into detail about how to do that. Did you succeed the die roll? No. Well, you need to do something to get it. Did you succeed the die roll? Yes, I did. Well, you have it for now. But what about in the future? Do you want to invest points to make sure they're there for you in the future? Yes, I do. Great. You'll never have to make a die roll again while you maintain those resources. You now have that. Where else do you want? But it's going to cost you 5 resources permanently to do it. So now you need to amass more resources so you can operate at the same level as you were before, but now have a deeper level of material available for you to be able to craft or empower with. It's just a die roll or 2, and the logistics of figuring out how does that sit inside of your campaign. But now we get to look at the cool stuff. So garden types. These gardens create stuff for us. So let's see if we go down to facilities, and we can go to harvesting facilities, M, between E and M is harvest. And you can see here we've got questions about like what kind of facilities can we create for harvesting. So let's go down here and let's go harvest. And we're just going to start brainstorming. I'm not going to flesh this out yet. We're just brainstorming the things that can be. So let's look at decorative and food, herb, poison. I'm going to bold this to make it stand out. Right now we're just taking inventory. Once we have all of these things broken down, or when something jumps out at us, we'll know what to do with it. But right now I'm just looking at structure. I suspect there's a gold value that's involved with each of these things that might be able to help set the bar, or like find it. Like for example, when we were breaking down the 2024 Artificer in UA, after we had gone through all of the adventuring gear, we came to the conclusion that you can basically create anything that costs 2 gold pieces or less that weighs 10 or less pounds. So, oh yeah, by the way, since we're on the subject, give me a second here. Where are you, buddy? Here you are, Artificer. I updated that, by the way. Magical tinkering. As a magic action while holding tinkered tools, you can create 1 item in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of yourself. You can choose an item from the adventuring gear list on the player's handbook that weighs up to 10 pounds, costs up to 2 gold pieces, and isn't consumable. For example, you can create a pole, which is 7 pounds and 5 copper pieces, a lamp, which is 1 pound and 5 silver pieces, or like manacles, which is 6 pounds and 2 gold pieces, and similar items. The DM may allow additional items not on the list to be created. The item vanishes after 1 hour, or you can expend 1 point of mana for the item to vanish after 24 hours instead. The word should be instead. You can use this feature a number of times, equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum once, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. You can also expend 1 point of mana, no action required, to regain 1 use for each point. To regain 1 use, period. Redundancy. So there you go. So that's our spell point solution for artificers just being able to create gear that eventually disappears. So that's an example. Like for example, we see here that we have the 10 pound 2 gold limit. We may find a similar thing in this list. Jesus, that's not where I need to be right now. Hold on. Right. We may find a similar thing in this list. So, description, aesthetically pleasing garden, garden decorative, 10 exquisite floral bouquets worth 5 gold pieces each, 10 vials of perfume, candles, which don't have a listed cost here. Let's open these up so we can see their costs. 5 gold bouquet, 1 copper candle, 5 gold piece adventuring gear, perfume, 5 GP cap, food stuff, 100 days of rations. Really, 100 days of rations. So 10 would be 5 silver pieces with 10 rations. It would be 5 gold pieces. 100 would be 50 gold pieces. So 50 GP cap, herb, that uses, it creates either 10 healer's kits, 1 potion of healing. Any food, any salad, up to 50 gold piece cap. Any pretty stuff or smells, up to 5 gold piece cap. Herb is 10 healer kits, or 1 pot of healing, 50 GP. Create, let's see, change garden type once per season, duh. Type, item created, no role. So how much does the healer's kit cost? Because we know a potion of healing is 50. Let's go to the healer's kit and see how much. I think they're 25 gold, right? 5 gold. Oh, okay. 5 gold times sin's 50. There. So it looks like first rank has a cap of creating stuff at 50 gold pieces. I think poison is 50 gold as well. Antitoxin, I'm certain is 50, and basic poison. Oh, basic poison I think is 100. 50 gold for antitoxin. And basic poison is 100. You broke it, buddy. You broke it. Well, I mean, basically it's create a magic. You basically create a consumable common magic item is basically what this is allowing us to do. That's going to be anti-toxin, 50 GP, or basic poison, 100 GP. Can create consumable items up to 100 GP, common magic item. There. That's basically what we just assessed about what this is. So I bet you Garden is a 5th level prerequisite. 5th level. So this is the lowest level Bastion you could have. We would be able to use this to set the bar that a first rank Bastion is probably, a first rank Bastion would be able to create common magic items. So this Garden is representing like that brew potion thing that we were looking at, and basically like the poison kit, the antitoxin, and then the consumable magic item, like the potion of healing. That's a common magic item. So this all folds together. The poison is a little expensive, but I think it's interesting that poison isn't considered a consumable magic item, considering that you have like one use on a bladed weapon. I guess they're doing it because it's a combat modifier, but it's not a permanent combat modifier like a magic sword would be. But I do notice that the magic potion is healing half of what a cure wound spell could do. A cure wound spell is 2d8 plus wisdom modifier, casting modifier, which is probably going to be an 18, which is a +4, right? But a basic potion of healing is 2d4 plus 2, half the power, but it's half the cost. So I bet if you made a healing potion that used the actual cure wounds at first level, it would be 100 gold pieces healing 2d8 plus 4 damage. Basically drinking 2 healing pots at the same time. So I see the pattern. So under here, harvest, first rank is common magic items. So that's the only thing here that is magical is the potion of healing. The rest of this stuff is mundane gear, and it's only first rank. So this would be a garden. The garden would be, so you can see here, like these different things have different ranks. Like a diverse workforce, you can get as early as first rank. Basically what it does is it allows you to basically invest in every rank that your Bastion is gains proficiency in an additional order. you could gain additional orders faster than that by investing points at whatever rank you're is. You gain an additional proficiency. So and we refer to that as a diverse workforce. Like, we normally don't have crafting, but we're investing in a diverse workforce that does have crafting. So now we have crafting in our Bastion, even though the Bastion itself doesn't know how to do it. It's a form of franchising, basically, as is a settlement. So that's the idea there. Let's see. Oh yeah, and you can invest in them, and like you can stabilize a lifestyle, so you don't have to roll for it repeatedly, so you don't have to worry about killing your Bastion. There's only, you can only maintain frequency for so long, but there's a gold piece cost per day, obviously. Anyway, frequency per season. I don't actually need cost per day per person, but we don't even worry about how many people are actually in your Bastion. We already have a ballpark idea of, like, first rank is going to be typically 1 to 10 people. If it's a settlement, it might be up to like 100. So like basically a settlement could have 10 times the amount of people that like a Bastion might have. So like in a settlement, you can have multiple Bastions inside of a settlement of different or rival guilds, cults, religions, blah. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So we figured out garden. That was easy. But we have to do this for all of these Bastions. Like every one of these, we want to break down so that everything that you can do in the DMG, we can say you can do that with this system. But here's the scaffold, the actual structure that explains why those things work at the levels that they do. So because the WotC is very much telling you what you can do. They're not really big about explaining to you how they came to that conclusion. They don't teach you how to create rules. They just give you the rules because they want to sell you rules. Why would they fucking teach you to fish? It's a fish store. They sell fish. They don't want to teach you how to fish. They want to sell you fish. So I try to teach you how to fish. But I love 5e, so I teach you how to build 5e. It's kind of my shtick. So we're done with garden. Let's go to greenhouse. Greenhouse is an upgraded facility. So let's go down here. Greenhouse instead. This is a second. This is a. First rank requires. It's just a garden. It doesn't require a settlement. Yeah, because it's just a little side thing. It's like a private. It's like a pea patch inside of your corn crops. I'm okay with that. Let's drop down the greenhouse. It's the next rank up. All right, let's see what this does for us. A greenhouse is an enclosure where rare plants and fungi are nurtured in a controlled environment. Fruit of restoration, harvest option. Let's break this shit down. Fruit of restoration. One plant in your greenhouse has 3 magical fruits growing on it. Any creature that eats one of those fruits gains the benefit of a lesser restoration spell. Fruits that aren't eaten within 24 hours of being picked lose their magic. The plant replaces all picked fruit daily at dawn, and it can't be transplanted without killing it. Okay, so right off the bat, I would assume that we're going to see a low-hanging fruit, pardon the pun, DMsGuild product, probably generated by ChatGPT, a 100 list of exotic plants to put in your greenhouse Bastion. 100 garden types to put in your garden Bastion. Super low hanging fruit. Super, super low-hanging fruit. Fruit of Restoration. So let's go with it. I don't like this, but we have to start someplace. Fruit of Restoration. I don't like that all these things die. Like they have a number of things that like get to create stuff, but the benefits die within 24 hours. It's like, whatever affliction is hitting me with lesser restoration, I can probably sleep it off. So by the time I get to my Bastion and need the lesser restoration spell in the first place, either my cleric already hit me with it or I slept it off. But once I get to my Bastion, once I pick this fruit, wherever it is that I'm going back to that might need a new lesser restoration spell, I better get there and resolve it within 1 day because this fruit's going to go sour after 24 hours. How am I supposed to fucking take this on an adventure? What purpose does this fruit serve me from a game campaign perspective that makes it available for only 24 hours, but it could take a week or a month or even, depending on what plane of existence I'm in, a year to get back to my Bastion? I'm getting a little snarky because this feels undercooked. I think WotC had a mandate that they had to be done within a certain period of time, and I don't think it worked. Fruit of Restoration, 24 hours, create, what is it, 4 fruit? 3. Each dawn. No, wait. Create 3 magical fruit that eat equals lesser restoration spell. Expires after 24 hours of picking. Plant only has 3 fruits at any time. Recharge at dawn. It's horrible. Harvest options. When you issue the harvest order to this facility, choose one of the following options. Harvest healing herbs. You commission the facility hireling to create a potion of healing greater made from healing herbs. Herb. Greater. Uncommon, you say. Second rank facility, you say. Sounds like it's making sense to me. It is 1 pot of healing greater, which is 200 gold pieces. Hey, what's up, text? I guess it could be fun for all clerics are recalled and unavailable. You failed to create the blue fire. Huh. I don't know what blue fire is. I think you're making a reference that I don't know. That is not an accusation. Harvest poison. You commission the facility to create expensive poison. Let's open up these expensive poisons. Once harvested, the poison can be contained in a vial. Work takes 7 days. Costs no money. Free stuff. 150 gold. 250 gold. 250 gold. 150 gold. Collapse, 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 collapse. Let's go fetch him. Whoop. Hyperlink active. Good. I mean, this paces. There, we're getting a decent scaffold. There might not need to be a harvest thing above this level, but these are okay. I don't need to make these separate things. I can just make it a garden, and indoor, outdoor, whatever. But we now have a list of first rank stuff that we can make, and we have a second rank stuff that we make, which is basically any consumable item or magic item that is made from plant material, common, and then second rank uncommon. There you go. And but this is automatically producing for us on a weekly cycle. Change type per season. 1 per week for free. 1 per week for free. That's kind of how it works. Yeah, Forgotten Realms, Sword Coasts, lore. Oh, got it. Right on. But immediately applying the knowledge. Nice. So this is a free. Okay, so I have to invest 2 resources to gain a free consumable magic item. Or I can invest just one, or I can just invest 1 point to get 1 free magic item. If it's a facility, it typically doesn't require a die roll. Like facilities, I'm specifically trying to avoid die rolls for anything in a facility and saving die rolls to actual orders. So then the question becomes: Does this harvest facility, does this serve us better as just an order? That doesn't require, that is a harvest order, but doesn't require a settlement to be able to do it because it's a small enough, it's a small enough operation that it can operate inside of a single building, for instance. I'm not sure yet. I suspect once we get through all of these, we'll know the answer, though. So the answer is, of course, is don't answer yet. Just wait. You don't have to have an answer yet. Just keep building. So Bastion, 17th level. That's a 5th ranked guild. We don't care about space. We have a basically like max size, like for settlements, we have a max size, which we can look at down here real quick. Here's the max size, like the maximum region size, like a hamlet has a population up to 100 people, and it could occupy space up to a 1 mile in size. A village can have up to 1,000 people, and it would occupy a space of up to 10 miles. A town typically is also going to be around 10 miles in size, while a city and a metropolis can command a region of 100 miles. Like Waterdeep has farmland 100 miles out from it. Region diameter. Region radius. There you go. It's like a 2x2 at the 1 mile scale, a 2x2 at the 10 mile scale, 2x2 at the 100 mile scale, if we're talking Spelljammer terms here. If we did get into if we did a serious Spelljammer settlement expansion, we could get into small moons, asteroid colonies, and entire planets of population at galactic scale, which could expand the size of the settlements to produce massive resources, like a Dyson sphere. It would be a 5th rank Spelljammer resource, providing enough magical energy to power an entire armada, for instance, or whatever. Stuff like that. But yeah, we have a sense of scale here. But otherwise, we don't really care about the size of a building of like your facility. It's whatever size makes sense that you have. And so if it makes sense that you could do it, you can just do it. Because you're not spending money on the facility. You're investing points and making a die roll every week, season, or year to maintain a lifestyle that absorbs the cost of maintenance of the building and keeping people fed, housed, and happy as part of that skill check. So you just make that once per however long you can maintain it for, or you invest that many points for however long you're allowed to, typically a season or a year, to maintain a lifestyle, and that just automatically just resolves everything. Like, you don't have to think about it anymore. This place is solvent. It produces enough income for itself to be able to do what it needs to do and to be able to set stuff aside for you occasionally. There you go. Oh. Let's see. Greenhouse. Good. We got that done. And now we're looking at Guild Hall. That's right. Don't know what the Guild Hall is all about. What is it supposed to be doing? God, it requires you to have expertise. That's funny. Space is vast. Hirelings 1, who cares? Order recruits. So it's the recruit action. A Guild Hall comes with a guild for which you are the guild master. Okay. This sounds like franchising or a governorship. Choose the type of guild from the options in the sample guild table. Okay. Or work with your GM to create a new guild. The facility is a meeting room where members of your guild can discuss important matters in your presence. The guild has roughly 50 members. This is a 17th level, a 5th rank facility. So basically setting up a separate bastion with up to 50 members in it. Okay. Made up of skilled folk who live and work outside your bastion, usually in nearby settlements. Recruit, guild assignment. Each time you issue the recruit order to this facility, you commission the facility's hirelings to recruit guild members to perform a special assignment. Each guild in the sample guild table specifies the nature of their assignment. With the DM's permission and help, you can create new assignments for guild members to complete. Oh, this might be a really great source of both complications as well as different orders to issue using maybe the recruit command, but it could be research or other things as well. But let's see how this parses out. Holy shit, this is cool. Okay, cool. Let's see what happens. Guild, it's under. Well, let's read it real quick before I start placing things. You send adventurers to track down a beast that has a challenge rating of 2 or lower and is known to lair within 50 miles of your bastion. Slay and capture. You can take and your bastion has a trophy room. You can add a trophy taken to the creature of that facility. If the creature is captured and your bastion has a menagerie, you can add the creature to that facility instead, provided the facility has space to house it. Baker's Guild, you assign bakers to create baked goods for a prestigious event that occurs within the next 7 days. So basically you have a prestigious event every week. Sure. You can receive payment in coin or in the form of a favor owed to you by the event's host, the details of which are left to you and the DM. You assign brewers to deliver 50 40-gallon barrels of ale worth 10 gold pieces each to your bastion in 7 days. That's a 500 gold piece value, by the way. We're tracking at 500 gold for a 17th level facility. You assign masons to add a defensive wall to your bastion at no cost. Alternatively, you can have the bastion perform this work for another character's bastion, provided their bastion is within 1 mile of yours. Each 5-foot square of defensive wall takes 1 day instead of 10. You assume shipbuilders to build one of the vehicles in the airborne and waterborne vehicles. You pay the full cost of the vehicle, and the work takes 1 gold piece per 1,000 gold pieces for the vehicle's cost. This is the rate of production for a 5th rank guild. $1,000 gold. So 1,110. Per day. That's per day. So per week, let's just take it times 10. So 10,000, 1,110. That's per 10 days. Okay, it doesn't quite work out. That's impressive, 1,000 gold pieces per day. There's something to that. We'll parse it. You assign thieves to infiltrate a location within 50 miles of your bastion and steal a non-magical object from it. The object can be no bigger than 5 feet in any dimension and delivered to your bastion within D6 plus 1 days.
The DM may decide this activity leaves you at risk of retaliation from law enforcement or the victim.
That would be a complication. They found out there's evidence about who performed the robbery, and time to track you down. So, okay, great. So these are basically franchises, which we discussed earlier. So this would be building like an Adventurers Guild franchise that you could then create player characters to have that cascading Bastion system working for you in a West March style. And it looks like it's allowing checks of some sort. So let's start breaking it down. So guild, and is recruiting the right word for this? Let's look at our options real quick. Craft, empower, harvest, maintain, recruit, research. Franchises, specialists, standing armies, that's all maintain, because you basically have to hire and keep them. And we subsume like lifestyle and like liquidating resources and purchasing new resources. Those are all maintain tasks. So having this guild, it would be, and you get the maintain action for free. But this would basically be, you have to invest points into a franchise as one of these guilds. That's essentially what it's telling us to do. So then it becomes a list of tasks. So, but the guild themselves, let's go down to Bastions. Sleepy Phil. Facilities, maintain. That's where we're going down to. And to maintain, we're going to go to guilds. Okay. Adventure Guild. Baker Guild. Fucking bakers. Brewer Guild. Mason Guild. Ship Builder Guild. Thieves Guild. Cool. Those are the things. Okay. There we go. Let's see. And this is 17th level. Right. So let's ignore that. You send adventurers to track down a beast that has a challenge rating of 2 or lower and is known to be in the area. They fetch it. Hunt a creature within 50 miles. CR2. Sure. Let's see. Host a feast. Earn 500 GP. Brewers Guild. $500 GP or favor resource. Favor, renown, resource.
Brewers.
Let's see. Brew lots of ale. 50 times 40 gal barrels. 10 GP each. Equals 500 GP. Per week. Per week. Per week. I see potential. I see the potential. Stone mask. You assign masons to add a defensive wall. 5 foot square. Each 5 foot square defensive wall takes 1 day. Create a stone defense wall 20 feet by 5 feet. $20 tall by 5 feet wide per week. No, per day. Per day. Shipbuilders. Build boats. Build vehicles at 1,000 GP per day. No cap. Let's see what these things are. Cost. Well, why would it fit all on one screen? Airship, 40K. Holy Hannah. Why is this? They, you see that? They did not design the table to be wide enough to show all of the fields, and there's no way to resize it. That's some shit design. You guys purchased this thing for $100 million, is that right? Why? Longship, rowboat, sailing ship, warship. 25,000 gold. Airship. 40,000 gold. Okay. Sure. And then Thieves Guild. Fetch something.
Non-magical item.
Steal an item within 50 miles. Fits in a 5-foot space. Adventurers Guild. So we can franchise anything. So that's not really actually very important. Where is it? Maintain lifestyle, diverse workforce, settlement. Well, there it is. Franchise. Let's scoop this. Governorship. Standing army. So if guilds is just a type of franchise, they would have you come in at 5th, creating at best a third rank guild. Third rank guild is worth 10,000 gold pieces per resource. That means that shipwrights can generate basically one resource worth of value per 10 days, or in this version, week. And that tracks with the task or the effort of the order to create to expand, create new resources. And so a third rank guild that spent a week and spent 3 points to make a die roll to gain an additional resource. It would gain, that one resource would be worth 10,000 gold, which is 10 times the value of what these shipwrights can do per day, which basically means these shipwrights can generate one resource worth a boat per week, which puts the cap of a third rank guild basically capable of producing its own value per week, if that makes sense. So it's 1,000, 110. So a first rank guild is capable of basically netting 100 gold pieces per week. Yeah, that tracks. 1 to 10 people generating around 100 gold per week. Yeah, or they could just crafting, harvesting, trading. This would be a maintain action. Specialists, historical lore, gather information, spy, magical plans, acquire materials, risky investment. Trade as risky investment makes sense. Yeah. Maintain. You're always proficient in maintain, and then you get to choose. There's 6 other skills, 6 other orders. You can become proficient with an additional order each rank for free, and then you can invest resources into diverse workforce to gain more faster if you want. If you want the facilities, and if you want the extra die. Maintain Bastion lifestyle. Recruit, commission specialist. Where do I put this? Gather information. That's research. This is commission specialists. Maintain Bastion lifestyle. Commission specialists. Expand resources. You focus your Bastion. Reinvests revenue. Reinvests its resources. Your Bastion reinvests its resources to expand its power. Its resources to expand its capabilities with a successful Bastion roll gains 1 resource. The DC and duration of time to cultivate the resource is determined by your Bastion's rank, as listed on the table below. There. And we're going to call it, instead of expanding resource, we're going to go cultivate resources. Cultivate resources. Commission specialists. There we go. So then we go rank, DC, duration. I bet this is going to look really familiar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Year. Season. Season. Week. Yeah, let's go with that. Week, season, year. Yeah, but again, you can, if you want to cultivate resources, you can always just take treasure that you find and just dump it into your facility to immediately, basically in that 7-week turn, you can just automatically gain resources. Duration, gold. 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100K, 1 million. There. That's how much gold you have to accumulate to just purchase a resource. It might be faster for you to accumulate 1 million gold over the course of a year. You might somehow be able to find enough treasure as an adventurer to purchase outright 1 million, in which case you'd be able to do it in a week. Or you could get 10 resources. You could auction off 10 resources from a 4th rank guild, knocking it down for sure to a 3rd rank guild, even potentially a 2nd rank guild. If assuming, oh boy. Okay, here's the problem. Wait. Yeah, a guild goes 16 to 25. That's 9. Shit, you're short. At best. Okay, so if you get rid of 9, a 4th rank guild has at most 16 resources. So if you auction off 9 resources, that drops you down to 9. 9. Once you drop down to 8 resources, you're no longer once you drop down to 12 resources, 9. It's 9 to 15. I'm brain blanking. 1 to 4, and then 5 to 8, and then 9 to 15, and then 16 to 24, and then 25 plus. Here's the problem: if I want to sack 10 resources from a 4th rank guild or 4th rank bastion to be able to generate 1 million gold to purchase an additional resource for maybe my umbrella, like my shell bastion, which is 5th rank, I need to have 10 resources of 100,000 each. But if I'm a 4th rank guild, I have at most 24 resources. If I shell off 10 resources, that drops me down to 14, which means I only got 8 resources at 800,000, and then it drops down in value. The next 2 resources are only going to be 10k each. So I need another 200,000 resources, and a 4th rank bastion can't do it. So I'd have to rebuild the bastion up on its own merit, from 3rd rank to 4th rank again, and then burn down that resource for 100,000 gold twice. So like, it's impossible. it's virtually impossible to get enough money by selling off resources from your Bastion to be able to afford a single resource for a higher ranked Bastion. In backwards, it's great. It's easy. I could take 1,000,000 gold and fund, well, 9 times. Yeah, I could easily operate. I could like cash in a resource here and be able to build from scratch a third rank guild just by purchasing it. That would take us into the governorship section of the map. But anyway, that was something I just wanted to point out. But yes, you can cultivate resources by either spending the duration and hit the die roll for the rank that you're at, or if you had enough gold or resources on hand of the appropriate rank, then you could just outright just buy the point within 7 days. Otherwise, you have to spend the time. So that's all I wanted to say there. So that's what that was, and that's basically that's how you expand franchise resources that way, by investing this time with these points. A 5th rank guild rolls a d20 plus 5. It's literally impossible for a 5th rank Bastion to gain more resources unless they invest resources to do it. And they'd have to invest at least 2 resources so they can get a d6 die roll. So they could potentially hit a 31, but it's highly unlikely. They'd have a 25. If they spend 5 ranks, they'd get a d12. That would mean they could hit a 37. They basically have a 1 in 4 chance of succeeding this die roll every year. So it'd probably take them 4 years to expand their resources. But it's just faster to set up a bunch of franchises underneath you. It just goes quicker that way. But if you really want to slow grind it out, if you have the points laying around to do it, you can gather more resources. You'll eventually get there. And you want to, because having only 25 points, resources in your Bastion makes it precarious. If somehow you lost a resource, you're going to drop down to 4th rank. That's a step down in power. That's going to suck. So anyway, that's worth considering. So now we're looking at, so that resolved that. That was important. That was a skill roll, an order. So let's go back down into our facilities. Let's look at our guilds. Garden, greenhouse. Settlement. Diverse workforce. Maintain lifestyle. Yeah. Maintain settlement, maintain franchise. That is recruiting. Yeah, that makes sense. It's external. Franchises guilds, it should be under recruit, right? Yeah. Actually, no. Let's go with my gut. My gut said maintain. Guild. Second rank. $40,000 per day equals season. You can build a ship in a season, actually in half a season. I'm thinking things through. Hold on. A castle costs 500,000 gold roughly. if I wanted to construct a castle, I wouldn't need a 5th rank guild. I think probably being able to construct an entire castle, that feels like a 3rd rank guild sort of thing to do. And if I can do 1,000 gold per day, that'd be 500 days. That would be roughly 2 years to be able to build that. Otherwise, Xanathar said it'd take about 4 years to build a castle like that. Thinking things through. If I can do 10,000, if I can do 1,000 gold per day as shipwrights. $1 gold, 10 gold, 100 gold, 1,000 gold, 10,000 gold. Let's look at our crafting check. Tools of war. Self-propelled siege machine, creature-drawn vehicles, self-propelled land vehicles. DC 20 takes a year. If we had a guild, we'd be able to drop that year for that 40,000. We'd be able to drop it from a year to a season. If you go by 10 or more, you cannot try again until you gain a rank. Research the item. Research plans for the item. Or use the recruit order to commission a specialist to help. Of an equal or higher rank to help. There we go. Trade tools. You can create tools. Let's listen to PHB tool stuff. To craft things. Do I need that? Maybe not. At some point, we're going to have to trim the bush of ideas down just to keep it simplified. I'm still okay where we're at. I like this idea of guilds. I like the idea of this guild helping you make things easier or faster. These things are basically allowing you to invest points to be able to automatically succeed at creating something at a specific rate. I think I'm okay with that. So the idea of a guild then would be a guild boiled down. A guild is formed, is maintained to have specialists in creating one type or group of items reducing the production time by 1 degree. So this is basically duplicating the effects of reducing the production time. Kind of duplicating the effects of a demiplane. A guild is maintained to have specialists in creating one type of group of items. Reduce the production time of items with DC equal to the rank listed for the guild. Is reduced by 1 degree. Rank DC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the way this goes is that if the task that you're attempting to perform is a DC 10, a first or higher rank guild can cut the time for producing that item by 1 degree. If it's 1 day, and then we'll have degrees reduced. 1 year, 1 season, 1 week, 1 day becomes 1 season, 1 week, 1 day, 1 hour. So you'd have to maintain, like if I maintain 3 points, if I invest 3 points into a shipwright guild, if the difficulty of the task for creating a ship is 20 or less, and that ship takes a year to build, I can make it in a season. If the DC was 25, it's beyond. I can still build the boat, but it's beyond my means of reducing the time it takes to build it. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if you have this guild operating inside of a demiplane, it would reduce it twice. Like a year could be done in a week. So stacking your resources, that would take 5 plus however many ranks you need. Boat, like for example, a self-propelled boat is a DC 30. So you're able to create the boat. If you can't hit the DC 30, it just creates complications for you and takes longer to do it. So like a first rank guild trying to build an entire like 40,000 gold piece airship, maybe you can get it, but you'll probably have to end up hiring a specialist or gaining a rank so you can hit the number. So that feels fair. You just don't have enough people. You have at best 10 people working with you if you're in a first rank Bastion. So you'll never get the fucking boat done. It's too big. It takes too long. That makes sense. That makes sense. So we're going to have to set difficulties for all of the things that you can build inside of the game. That way these guilds can modify the time it takes to build them. And yeah, we have the time and a DC, so that's fairly easy. Instead of like X gold per day, we have it marked as X gold per week that you're capable of producing, like 100 gold, 1,000 gold, 10,000 gold, 100,000 gold, 1,000,000 gold. I think that's how we have it. I think that's how we have it paced. Instead of like X gold per day, we have it marked as X gold per week that you're capable of producing, like 100 gold, 1,000 gold, 10,000 gold, 100,000 gold, 1,000,000 gold. I think that's how we have it. 2, 1 season. To 1 week. One week, 1 year. 1 day, 1 week, 1 week, 1 year. There we go. Oh, that's what we can do. That's right. We had guild come on at second level, didn't we? Oh, this is going to be nice. Okay, hold on. Power, greenhouse, maintain guild. Give me the guild. Where is the guild? Thank you. Second rank. You can't have a first rank guild. It has to be at least second rank. DC and duration reduced. Year, season. No DC. Let's get rid of that. Let's do this instead. Yeah. No, wait. So I don't like die rolls being inside of facility actions. The guild is a facility. The guild is designed to stabilize, or should it be speed up, production of stuff. Boil down, a guild is maintained to have specialists in creating one type or group of items. But is a guild limited to only creating items? Cannot a farmer's guild harvest things? Cannot a thieves guild not steal a bunch of stuff? Should it be that the guild is really just specialists? Let's go up here and look at commission specialists. You have a specialist or high CR creature to perform a task beyond your guild's current abilities. Specialists are creatures proficient in a number of orders equal to its rank. You can issue one order to that creature instead of your bastion while the specialist remains in your bastion. Monsters are unique CR creatures that obey your commands while in your bastion to fight or to use its abilities to benefit your bastion once per week. The specialist rank or the monster's CR, the DC of attracting its attention. If the roll fails, a complication prevents recruiting the target creature. If you fail by 10 or more, if the creature is higher, if you fail by more than 10. No, if you fail by 10 or more, that's right. Or the creature is a higher rank than your bastion, the creature attempts to sabotage it. If the creature is equal to or lower rank than the guild, you can retain its services as detailed in the facilities below. Or the creature is a higher rank than your bastion. The creature attempts to sabotage it. If the creature is equal to or lower rank than the guild, you can retain its services as detailed in the facilities below. Retain it. That means you maintain points to have it permanently on staff, which is the specialists that we have down below. Facilities, which is under recruitment. Maintain guild, standing army. Oh, we don't have it listed down here yet. Interesting. Let's see, diverse workforce. Choose an order. You gain proficiency or expertise in that order. Your Bastion. Oh, instead of workforce, let's go with guild. But the guild comes in at first level. How about yeah, no, guild makes sense. I think guild workforce instead of diverse workforce. Let's call it guild workforce. So the guild, if you maintain a guild, you can have it at any rank, and that you're now part of that guild, and you either gain proficiency in the order that that guild is good at, or expertise in that order, which gives you double the guild bonus. Not bad. I like that. So that resolves the guild piece of that, but now we also have the production value of what these things are. So now we get to look at what does this guild produce. It's garden, maintain lifestyle. Where'd you go? Yeah, we don't need a guild. We don't need a franchise. We have that resolved. Hunt a creature within 50 miles, CR2. This isn't a loss. Hold a feast, earn 500 gold, a favor of renowned resource. We do not need that. That's just that's basically either gain a resource or just maintaining a lifestyle. It's one or the other. Brewer Guild, also again, just either maintaining resources or just a basic crafting check. There's nothing special about that. It's cute that it's so specific, but it doesn't need to be. Mason's Guild, create stone defense walls. That's construction. Build a vehicle at 1,000 gold per day. Self-propelled vehicles is 100,000 up to 100,000 per year. 100,000, 10,000, 1,000, 100, and then 10. That'd be 100,000 per season, which is 10,000 gold per day. So, Shipbuilders Guild, that comes in here. Let's do with let's go with no, I don't know what I'm doing there. Builds. Okay, so I'm thinking about gold per day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. $10K, 1K, 100, 10, and 1. Rank, gold per day. This is how much can my Bastion craft. Yeah, 1 GP, 10 GP, 100 GP, 1,000 GP, 10,000 GP. Hey, what's up? Hey, Gabby. I'm doing really well, thank you. Are you a Dungeons and Dragons enthusiast? I'm building game mechanics for bastions, guilds, kingdoms, and downtime activities using 5th edition 2024 mechanics built off of the Bastion system that's in the new 2024 Player's Dungeon Master's Guide. I'm translating it into a die roll ability check system, and we're fleshing out. We're taking all of the different perks and options and bonuses that are in the Dungeon Master's Guide for different facilities that your characters have control of. We're translating what they give you here, and then we're translating them into how do you make it an ability check to gain that bonus. That's essentially what we're doing here right now. So I stream mechanics like this on Thursday nights and Saturday lunchtime. On Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I do similar, but for like different game mechanics. So, I'm sorry. It's been a while. I didn't keep track. So yeah, sorry. Yeah, so I've been doing Spelljammer and like Artificer and martial power stuff on Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Friday lunchtimes, and then I do Eberron Art in the mornings, Monday through Friday. So sorry I didn't remember you. It's I guess I gotta see people for a little while before the name sticks. Plus, people switch names sometimes online. So we're trying to look at what is the scale of operation that I have, and what's the gold value per day that we can anticipate that they produce. So we have the Shipbuilders Guild here, basically setting a benchmark at 1,000 gold pieces per day in the Shipwrights Guild, Shipbuilders Guild. So that's valuable to know. I think this scale is okay. So that puts boats in at like around 4th rank guild. I mean, making a boat is hundreds of people. That's reasonable. Excellent. I'm glad to hear it. Oh man, that's going to be a cool adventure. I'm going to be very proud when it publishes. I'm glad it took so long, because with the 2024 scuttling so many rules, it's a great opportunity for me just to be able to have an adventure right off the bat. I would have hated to have finished that adventure and then have to realize, oh, shit, I gotta update all my rules. That would have pissed me off like a lot. I will probably be doing my own stuff on Kickstarter by the time they reboot 6th edition or whatever. I doubt I'll still be in that ecosphere. Yeah, it's really, really fun. Eberron is check out. Try to see if you can trawl some of the 3rd edition books, because it started in 3rd edition, and boy, they invested a fuck ton of money into making a ton of lore in all the books. You can ignore the mechanics and stuff, but those books are just brimming with information. It's so good, so much good shit in there. Stealing an item worth within 50 miles fits within a 5-foot space. Okay, so let's go down. Maybe what I need to do is just compile a list of just ideas that we haven't been able to resolve into actual facilities or orders yet. So I think what I'm going to do, yeah, that's what I think I'm going to do. So let's hit that button. I'm going to start just pulling the stuff up. To the front of the facilities. Let's go down to the garden and the greenhouse. We're seeing some easy scaffolding inside here. Because I don't know if these are going to end up being orders or if they're going to just end up being facilities that just grant you stuff or not. I honestly don't know yet. Gonna go to here. Oh, I'm dehydrating. I can feel it. I like to turn on my fireplace. Or turn on. I like to burn fires in my fireplace, and the fireplace is like 5 feet away from me. If the fire cooks too high for too long, I end up baking myself, and I feel sick. I have to be mindful of my hydration levels when I do that here in winter. Now, I'm in Seattle, so it gets pretty cold. Bastions, I missed it. Let's go back down here. There it is. Let's create some space. No, I wanted to say facilities. Just gonna make it super big and annoying, so I can't miss it. Bastion facilities. Sorry, I'm not being very attentive right now. Work in progress here. Whip. Now I'm going to start trolling information and not have to judge myself too much over what it is. Franchise. Let's pluck this. Where'd my mouse go? There it is. My mouse is getting twitchy. Let's make that bigger. So it's obnoxiously large so I don't miss it. All right, there's facilities. Here's facilities, works in progress. All right, let's keep cooking. Let me catch up and then we'll cook. Oh, cool. Nice, man. Wait, I have mean 3.5. Nice. Nice. Laboratory. Okay, let's keep on keeping on. What time is it? It's 8:43. Let's put us. Let's give her. I got a minute left on my clock. Let's give us another 20 minutes, and I'll call it a night. And then we'll be back tomorrow morning to continue working on the Eberron artwork. So let's see. Third rank. Level 9 generally means third rank. Bastion, out of 5. A laboratory contains storage space for alchemical properties and workspaces for crafting various concoctions. Craft option. When you issue the craft command or facility, choose one of the following options. Craft. Alchemist supplies. Let's go to laboratory. Third rank. What? Craft. Alchemist supplies and poison. The facility hirelings craft anything that can be made from the alchemist, made with alchemist supplies. Okay, let's go look. Make alchemical stuff, and then poison is the poison must be one of the following. So let's go look at burnt ether fumes, essence of ether, or torpor. Let's find out what the cost of these things are. It takes 7 days. Let's pay half the poison cost. See poisons for description of cost above. Anything else? No. Okay, cool. So let's check these things out. First off, oh yeah, let's cut paste. I see text. I'll catch up with you. Let's make sure these are 11. Yeah, good enough. Let's check out these costs. Torpor, 600 gold. So there's up to 100, 400, 4,000, 40,000, 200,000 for common, uncommon, rare, very rare, and legendary magic items. So a 600 GP cap puts us past 400 into 4,000. So this falls into the rare range. So that's rare. This one is the 300 gold piece range. So that's a uncommon range. This is a 500 gold piece, so that puts it at the rare range. Mostly qualified. It doesn't overclock, so that's fine. And then alchemist supplies. Let's see what each of these are. Acid, alchemical fire, whatever that is, oil, paper. I think this is all going to cap at 50. Let's verify. 25, 50, 25, silver, 5. And then alchemist supplies itself is 50. Okay, cool. So let's see. Laboratory alchemical supplies, making alchemical stuff up to caps 50 GP. And then craft poison, torpor. Get out of here. Caps 600 GP. So we could start. This doesn't need to be a third rank facility, except for these poisons that we want in here. So basically what we're looking at is laboratory craft. First rank equals second rank equals excuse me. Third rank equals poison here as well. Let's grab these real quick. Paste. What's up? Did you know there's an... Yes, I do. It's in Stormreach. Yeah. Right on. I've never played it. I have friends that swear by it. Some have been playing for like a decade. Jesus. Yeah, I'm not a big computer. I don't have time for computers. I used to play Path of Exile, League of Legends, and Civ 5 a lot. But I had to. I got really serious about making books, so I didn't have time for video games anymore. I listened to them. I watched them on the side. Especially Path of Exile 2 content. Gotta love Po2. I gotta look at these poisons again to know how to separate them. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Burnt ether fumes. Ether is only 300 gold. And then torpor. Ether. Yeah, delete. Caps 400 gold. We can get rid of Essence of Ether. 4,000 gold. There. So these are basically the only 3 ranks that we're seeing in the laboratory. If we're just breaking things down by item rarity per rank. So that I don't necessarily need to have a separate laboratory to be able to build. They're really breaking, they're really fine cutting, into specific tools, because there's not enough meat on the bone for the Bastion system in the DMG. Just say, yeah, you can craft stuff. First rank up to 100 gold. Second rank is 400 gold. Third rank is 4,000 gold. 40,000 gold, and then 200,000 gold. Produced at the rate of 1 week, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. 1 day, 1 week, 1 week, 1 season, 1 year, or whatever. Like that's too simple. And it compiles a whole bunch of stuff into one little knot. I like that kind of universality and the idea of just crafting and empowering in general. I think what we're probably going to end up doing is going with a general craft rule like that, and a general empowerment rule like that for creating magic items and just creating mundane gear like that, basically using the same scale of 100, 400, 4,000, 40,000, 200,000 for the scale of building stuff. There's nothing that costs more than 200,000 in the game, except for a castle. We'll probably have to make an exception to that. We wouldn't break down the cost of a castle. We would talk more about what rank do you need to be to build one, and how many resources is it going to tie up if you do. That's kind of the idea of how we would do that. And then you have a DC for the difficulty making it, and if something goes wrong, there's a complication with it, which we discussed a lot earlier in the stream. But that's very simple. So then what we could do to diversify is we can then start breaking down categories like a laboratory, instead of it being a die roll to craft each of these individual things. Because if you have to be third rank to make burnt other other fumes, then you would have to tie up 3 resources every time you wanted to make a single batch of that poison. Or we can have general crafting rules, and then we can have, as a facility that's invested in creating specific types of things, it could be like you can craft poisons and potions. And that could be a laboratory, it could be an apothecary, it could be a greenhouse, it could be a number of different things. Flavor it as you want, but we'd then be separating things into different columns. So like if I have a potion shop, then instead of me having to make a die roll, I would automatically be able to succeed in creating one of them for however long that duration is. Or if I do make a crafting check, I can reduce the time by 1 degree, like a year down to a season down to a week down to a day down to an hour. So I could instead have like a super generic level of crafting items, and then go down into deeper levels of specialization to fine cut the type of materials that you would then automatically get for free at the scale that you're at within the time frame. Like a very rare magic item takes an entire season to create. If I had a high enough level arcane armorer, then I'd automatically be able to create that item every season instead of having to make a die roll every season. Like that might be a worthwhile investment, and like you could temporarily invest in having like specialists set up in your shop that they're going to guarantee they'll get it built for you, but you're going to have to sink resources into having them there for that time period, which is tying up the points that you would spend on making stuff. But if it costs the same, why wouldn't I just hire a specialist to like, I need an item, so I'm just going to hire, because there's a delayed time to find the specialist. That's why. Because you have to fucking recruit them. And a 4th rank specialist that would be capable of producing a 4th rank magic item takes an entire season to find. So it would take you a season to find them, and then you would take that thing that takes a season, you'd be able to reduce it down to only making a week. So therefore it took you a season and a week to find someone that's guaranteed to be able to build it, as opposed to making the die roll after a season of work and potentially failing the die roll. I can see that, but then you have to also make a die roll to be able to recruit them in the first place. And if you fail the die roll, they might hate you, and it becomes even more difficult for you to be able to recruit the proper person. There's risk in all of these things, but that makes sense to me. I like that. So when we're looking at specialists, we have a list of recruiting specialists down here. I'll catch up with you in a second. Your Bastion gains proficiency or expertise in that order. I'm gonna go back to diverse workforce. Keep that so you can gain more proficiencies and expertise in Bastion tasks, orders. And then we have recruit. Where was it? Hold on. Settlement, diverse workforce. Maintain lifestyle. Oh, it was an order. That's right. Go up here to recruit that person. It is a maintain order. Commission specialist. There you go. You have a specialist, and the specialists are creatures proficient in a number of orders equal to its rank. The rank of specialists is going to be, here's the DC. If you roll fails, a complication prevents them from being recruited. So that's it. Like, they get kidnapped, you have to rescue them. That's perfect. If you fail by 10 or more on the die roll, they fucking hate you, and they start sabotaging you. And you could at any time reserve rank. You could you can invest the points to have them on hand permanently. Once you recruit them, you could then take those points that you spent to recruit them and you could keep them reserved to, like, I found you, now I'm going to keep you, so I never get those points back while that guy stays on your roster of employment in your Bastion. So that works out. So generic crafting, generic empowerment, and then we delve into specialists and guilds that can create them more easily or rather quicker, because time is the one thing that the characters have complicated. Like, the one thing that characters hate is that it takes too much time to build these things. So by getting specialists and guilds devoted to the task of building those specific things, that will reduce the time it takes to build because they're specialists. That, I think, is our solution. I have to keep breaking shit down, but I think that's how it's going to end up going. So I think talking to the Batman. Ooh, holy shit, Batman Beyond. Oh my god, forever ago. That was a great show. I want you to draw some share art on the style of Batman Beyond. I was taking notes. Yeah, I really like it. It's really watching Indiana Jones is on my watch for everyone. Oh god, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Batman Beyond is a great style. I love it. Yeah, this is going to work out. This is going to make sense. We're not quite there yet. I want to keep breaking this down, but so far the pattern is there, and it works. So far everything is consistently working inside that curve. So we got laboratory taken care of. Oh Jesus, we have so many to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Jesus Christ. We got another 19 of these to go. I mean, we've come a long way, but still, hopefully on Saturday we're going to be able, yeah, we're there. We got it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and cut here. When we come back, we'll work on the library. I will be back Seattle time, Pacific Standard Time. It'll be 9:30 on Saturday morning. I'll have about a 3-hour burst to be able to kick through that. I'm hoping I'm going to try to minimize my front load talking prep time and like walking everyone through stuff so I can get started right away. Hopefully I'll be able to knock down a few of these. I'd like to have these resolved by not this Saturday, by the following Saturday. 3 sessions from now, 19 things in 3 sessions. Now that we have a really sturdy scaffold set up, I think it's plausible because I think we have a gear that each one of these things can shift into. So I think that should be able to help speed things up and collapse all these things and find the commonalities between them. And then, because the way that they're building it is like each specific room does a specific thing that's on theme with it, which allows them to add more things in the future, sure, but they only allow you like 5 or 6 things. Like, do you want to make potions or do you want to make scrolls? Because you don't get to do both because you don't have enough inventory. Like, you don't have enough like facilities in your Bastion to do it. But if you can just change on the fly what it is that you're crafting, as long as you have the resources, the materials to do it, you're good to go. So we're finding it. We don't have to do it fast. I'm not here to make things fast. I'm here to make things thorough and bulletproof that expands the narrative of the game that you can add on to as new ideas come up. They fit into space. So it's future proofed to be able to do more things for you in the future as well. So I think we're at a really strong point here. I like the idea of being able to split these things in. It's like when we go down in the guilds, we can just provide a lot of examples for guilds for the empowering magic items. We can have like specific like potion crafters, scroll scribers, armorers, weaponsmith, like enchanted, all these separate things. You can then invest into which of the magic items you want to be able to produce more of easily. Yeah, I'm good there. Yeah, good night, man. Hey, guys, thanks so much for hanging out, my guy. Gal, I don't know. Everyone's a guy to me. Everyone's a dude and a guy to me when they're online because it's just a name. So forgive my old schooledness. But anyway, thanks a lot. Appreciate you hanging out. Anyone else that's checking this out in the future, love to have you again. Be welcome to join my Discord down below. Check out my books. They're all free previewed. So you can look at a ton of my work without having to pay a penny. Buy stuff if you think, if you want to support me. But otherwise, just keep reading the books. I'll keep making them. And again, all of this document, it's right here. It's read-only for you, so you can't cut and paste stuff. It's look, don't touch. But be welcome to dive into this stuff as deep as you want to go. If you want to start using it in your games, just reach out to me and ask me about how to set it up. Or if you run into a challenge because there's a gap in the rules still, maybe I hadn't thought of what we need for the solution for that yet. So asking me questions is great. Anyone that wants to use this, you're more than welcome to set up camp in my Discord to ask questions whenever you want. I'd love to have you. I'll be playtesting stuff like this when we're done with the martial power system in March, maybe May. We'll see, probably May, because we're gonna go to level 10. And we got more BECME. We got more Mega Dungeon Exploring in 5e Martial Powers on Monday night. I think we have a stable crew of 4, but we'll see. And yeah, so I'll be back tomorrow morning working on more Eberron. At lunch tomorrow, we're going to come back and we're going to work on the Artificer subclasses and using the new UA 2024. And then we'll be back on Saturday brunch to work on this Bastion again. And then Monday morning for Eberron. All right. Hey, guys, I'm out of here. Thanks a lot. Yep, that's it. Bye-bye.